Hi, I'm Dr. Davis. Welcome to Words of A. Davis Smith. Today we'll be talking about Catfishing 2.0. It's time to light them up. Let's get started. So let's get this started. We're here to talk about Catfishing 2.0 in an online dating world. So, as everyone knows, one of the most popular ways of dating is the online approach. Everything from eHarmony, Match.com to newer ones, and so people use it as a way of meeting folks that they wouldn't normally meet any other way. And so it's convenient, it's popular, it's easy, but it's also full of troubles, trials, and tribulations. And so I want to talk a little bit about that and how catfishing 2.0, what I'm calling kind of the new form of catfishing, is making itself prevalent in this sphere. So we want to talk a little bit about an expanded definition of catfishing 2.0. Traditional catfishing looks at how individuals pretend to be someone else in their online profiles, posting pictures of someone else, or just generally trying to seem as though they are a better catch than they actually are by using someone else as a proxy for themselves. Um, Catfishing 2.0 is a little different, expands on a little bit because it focuses on dating profiles that are the individual, but are have pictures or content of the individual that are no longer relevant or applicable to how they are today. And so you commonly see this in terms of pictures of the individual from prior times. My friend says from 30 years and 30 pounds ago. So people, once again, pretending to be or present themselves in a way that they no longer are. It also includes things like profile pictures that contain things that aren't true or honest, such as a man trying to pretend like he's balding, sitting in front of a Benz or sitting in front of a big house. Once again, presenting themselves, the actual person, as something that they are not. So once again, looking at the kind of the people once again trying to pretend as though they're younger, so presenting old pictures, that they're more physically attractive than they actually are, thinner, in better shape. It also includes using misleading words in profiles, such as descriptors like slim and athletic or average, when the person may be none of those things. And so once again, all misleading the individual, trying to get them to believe that they are something that they are not. Um, I believe it also includes things, as unpopular as it may be for me to say, things like inclusion of women with wigs, weaves, and extensions. Once again, presenting themselves in a way physically that isn't an accurate depiction of how they actually are. Also, I was also throwing in the fake eyelashes, the long eyelashes. Once again, presenting themselves in a way that isn't accurate or true. And I won't even go into the danger zone or the pitfall of talking about things like body shapers, push-up bras, and those things, which are also, as I've called them, false advertisements that are designed to present an image of the person that isn't an accurate description of how the person is. And then you unwrap the prize when you get them and like, oh, it isn't what I thought it was. It wasn't what your picture or your profile pretended it to be. So um, I want to talk a little bit about the problems that come from this catfishing 2.0. And I think the biggest issue is that it doesn't allow an individual to make an informed decision about whether or not they are genuinely interested in this person or even initially interested in this person. So once again, if all I have to go on is are these false images or these false descriptions of yourself, I'm not in a position to make a true assessment about whether or not you would be a good fit for me, whether you meet my preferences, my requirements, my desires, my wants and wishes and needs, which is a whole separate video that I'll be doing shortly, talking about wants and needs and the differences. But once again, are you the person that I will be genuinely attracted to if I really got to see you in live in person? So it creates that big problem of false advertisement or presenting the individual in a way that is not accurate, and it takes away from me choice and the ability to make the best selection for me in terms of who I'm interested in. And so I think that's the kind of the biggest problem. And the funny thing is, I'm not really sure what the person who does this catfishing expects to happen on the first date. If you presented yourself to be a size 4 and you show up at the first date a size 14, I think there's a belief or perception that my winning personality and all these other things that I've presented to the individual will overcome what the person wants for themselves, and they'll be so smitten by me that they'll ignore the fact that I lied about how I looked. That mindset is odd to me, and I don't see how people really think this is going to turn out well for them in the long run. And so there are a couple of common responses to this catfishing. We'll look at kind of the women's approach often, and I won't. I rarely. I'm hesitant to say things are always something, or trying to use kind of these broad categorizations. But a lot of women will still go on a date with a man. So even if the man pretended to be something that he's not, a lot of women will see it as an opportunity just to get a free meal. So they have no interest in the individual, no desire for it to be anything more than that first date, but they'll still go on a date because it's a free meal. And I think, men have a similar problematic strategy. I think where even if the woman shows up and it doesn't look like he wanted her, wished that she looked, or like she presented herself to be, he'll do the mental calculation of, but is she still smashable? Is she somebody that I'm willing to deal with in the short term for sex? And so the calculus for the man is, can I get sex out of this? So the woman's calculation may be, can I get a meal out of this? And the man is, can I get sex out of this? And so I think there are other responses that could be interesting in this approach. I read a recent article about a woman who recommended that when she meets somebody online and she has a date set up, she requires that the guy give her a deposit on the date. And I think that's really interesting. And if the guy shows up and is the person that she thought he was, she would reimburse it through Cash App or whatever mechanism he used to send her the money. The problem also part of this, she also says though she makes it dependent upon whether he looks like he said he looked and whether she has a good time, which is extremely subjective because it could not be a good time because of her. So I think it's a little jacked up. But it may also be something that a man wants to look at, providing you find women that are willing, that he requires a deposit for someone that he meets online. And if she looks like she portrayed herself to look on her profile, then he refunds her the money. So I think that's kind of interesting spin on it in terms of how it could be or how responses could be for this whole catfishing 2.0. And so kind of in wrap up, what I'll say is kind of the moral of the story. I think there needs to be a change in behavior in general. I think we need to stop some of the things that we're doing. And so I think we need to stop pretending to be someone that we're not. I think we need to be comfortable and in love with our authentic selves and present pictures of ourselves or descriptions of ourselves that are accurate and that are a true depiction of who we are. Not kind of this false narrative or this wrapping paper, beautiful gift, and you open it up and it's not what the individual wants. So you want people to be able to like you for who you are genuinely, and either the person is attracted to you or not. Because if it's a wig, you're not going to wear a wig every day that you're with this person. Or if you're a guy, you're not going to be taking a woman out to Ruth Chris every time. So I think you need to be your authentic selves, and you need to represent yourself in a way that allows the other person to make an informed decision. And the second thing I think equally as important is we need to stop using people that we aren't genuinely interested in. If you're a woman and you're not interested in this guy, you have no plans of seeing him, be courteous enough to end the date and not use him for a meal. And if you're a man, if you're not interested in this woman, don't use her for sex. I think that's wrong. I don't think it is wrong. And so I think we need to make sure that we're clear. And kind of a final thing I'll say and wrap up is in terms of response. I think we should be fine ending dates at the beginning if the person has lied about who they are. If the person represents themselves to be this size 2 rocket scientist that you're really attracted to, and the person ends up being none of those things, then I think you should be comfortable when the person walks up to you and you see they're not the person that you wanted. I thank you for your time, but you're not who I wanted. You're not who I'm interested in, or not the person that I thought you were. I'm not going to go on this date, and you should have a good evening. Controversial, but I think we shouldn't waste our time because someone else has decided to misrepresent themselves and haven't given us the opportunity to simply make an informed decision about who we want to date. If you like this video, be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Words of A. Davis Smith. Also, my website where I have a bunch of useful information and will continue to post a lot of valuable resources for you. www.wordsofadavissmith.com. Hope to see you there. Take care.